Welcome back to the Cover 2 Zone. It is Super Bowl week. We are previewing Super Bowl 60 as the Seattle Seahawks take on the New England Patriots at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Eden, it's the biggest week of the NFL season. Kind of bittersweet because after this we have, 7 months without any NFL football. I mean, we'll have plenty to sink our teeth into at the end of the season anyway, you know, looking back at some of the season, some of the predictions we made and some of the season reviews and stuff like that. We'll have plenty going on, but it is always a bittersweet week, isn't it? Because you're looking forward to the Super Bowl, but it does mean that the season is ending and there's no football for 7 or so months.
Yeah, it's mock draft season, isn't it? That's what people tend to do. It starts earlier for some fan bases, like the Jets and the Browns, but
yeah, the ones whose seasons were over in week 7 or week 8, or something like that. And I certainly felt that this year. I said week 7, week 8, yeah, we're done as a Dolphins fan. So, both teams coming into this game 14-3 regular season records, so identical regular season records. Seahawks beat the Rams 31-27 in the NFC Championship game. The Pats beat the Broncos 10-7 in the AFC Championship game. Let's just briefly talk about those two games. They were a while ago now, and I am struggling to remember what happened in those games. But starting with the AFC Championship game, obviously the game hampered really by Bo Nix's injury and the weather in Denver. The Pats come out on top. Andy Borgales' field goal in the third quarter proved to be the winning point. There was no scoring in the fourth quarter as the snow became worse, really, and just really hampered the game. And this, to me, was a big reminder why the Super Bowl is always in a warm weather city, because it did ruin the game. And those type of games, you know, they can be a coin flip type of game, can't they? I think each kicker may have missed 2 field goals because of, you know, how difficult conditions were to kick in, and you know, it can go either way in those type of games, kind of. And it's a reminder why we want a Super Bowl in either an indoor stadium or a warm weather location.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Sometimes messy weather can be an enjoyable experience, but more times than not, it's just a slugfest of defensive football. And then even worse, a backup quarterback for the Broncos, which just made it that much worse.
Yeah, it was such a shame, wasn't it, for the Broncos? They've done so well all season, and almost then, you know, Jared Stidham did his best, but especially in those conditions, it's not passing football weather, is it? And you know, the Patriots come out on top eventually. But as I said, it could have been the Broncos in the Super Bowl anyway. It's almost a coin flip when the weather is like that. But moving on to the NFC Championship game, then it was a lot more exciting. The Seahawks stayed relatively in control. I think there was only one period of about 3 minutes in the second quarter where they weren't leading the game. And apart from, you know, when it was 0-0, they led the game throughout. And Sam Darnold was excellent, 25 of 36, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns. Similar stats for Matt Stafford. So Sam Darnold just getting the better of a veteran quarterback like Matt Stafford in a championship game is a huge tick in his box, isn't it, as a quarterback in the year that he's had.
Yeah, he's had a really good year. Genuinely surprised me, and it makes you think why. Yeah, I kind of understand the Vikings decision, but yeah, it's coming back to bite him a bit. 9's not looking that hot.
Still tight. It's still early days. I think we'll reserve judgment yet, but
yeah. JSN was excellent, though.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, 10 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Huge performance, and we've talked about him all year, right? And he's really stepped up this year. And you know, he was good before, but would you say this has been a breakout year for him? Could you, or was he too good before to be labelled with a breakout season?
I think there's definitely a breakout season, and it probably should have been somewhat unsurprising because DK went to the Steelers and Tyler Lockett is aging. I don't even know if I don't think he's with the team anymore, is he, Tyler Lockett?
Well, he was with the Titans last season.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if in the aftermath of the season whether he's left. I can't quite remember, but he was with the Titans.
So yeah, those targets had to go to somewhere, and who else but their kind of number one pick out of Ohio State. So yeah, unsurprising.
Looking ahead then to this game, or let's look back first. When we talk about this game, we can't talk about this matchup without talking about the 2014-15 season, that famous Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. It's one of the worst play calls in NFL history when you've got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. What were they on the 2-yard line? Was it
Something
2 or 3?
Like yeah.
2 or 3 yard line, and Pete Carroll. I don't know whether it was him who actually called it, but they call a pass play on that play, and it gets picked by Malcolm Butler. And I was thinking, do the Pats? Is it worth them re-signing Malcolm Butler at 49 or 48 or whatever he is, just to put the scares up the Seahawks, just have him around the place on the sideline and just try and wave some juju in the way of the Seahawks?
I don't think he's that old, but I did see that.
I was making a total guess, by the way, at Malcolm Butler's age. But
I did see that someone asked Mike McDonald if this situation happens, are they running it or passing it? And he said, depends, is beast mode back there or not.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
I think Walker and Charbonnet, as good as they are, they're not quite Marshawn Lynch, are they? So that play call might still be in a bit of jeopardy. But if you are a Seahawks play caller, you can't do that twice, surely, against the Patriots. You can't run that same play twice, and because if it gets picked off again, you are getting crucified.
Instead of a quick slant, do a quick out to JSN instead.
Yeah. Back then, it was Brady against Russell Wilson, and I just wanted to think back, and it's mad that we're 11 years down the line. Russell Wilson is still in the league, and now we look at him in a very, very different way than when we looked at him back then. Then he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He was an elite quarterback. He was one of the first really to, apart from, sort of the Michael Vicks of this world, but one of those who started the ball rolling, I think, in terms of going towards a mobile quarterback who could roll out the pocket and could pass as well. And, obviously like Michael Vick was that guy before. But I think Russell Wilson really had a big hand in starting that trend in the NFL. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and he threw an absolute moon ball as well. Like, he could just launch it. Yeah. But he is also a cornball. So, yeah, kind of, it's interesting how you view him now. Like, I don't know if he got weirder as the fame got on, but I remember him being quite like a quiet, nice, friendly guy. And I'm sure he still is. But, yeah, there's something. He's very much viewed in a different light now. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, started this season as the starter for the Giants, and then was quickly replaced by Jackson Dart, and obviously that's Jackson Dart's going to be the guy there now. So whether Russell Wilson stays in the league or not, we'll have to wait and see. But the Hawks,
Miami need a quarterback.
Well, not him. Not him. I'd rather start Quinn Ewers and get a young guy, a young buck up and running. Welcome back. But yeah, Hawks looking for their second title. Last was in the 2013 season, and won the Super Bowl in 2014. So a year before that infamous Malcolm Butler interception. Pats chasing ring number 7. Their last one was in 2008, the season 2018, one in 2019, when they beat the Rams. I remember that being quite a dull game, actually. Off the top of my head, wasn't the best game. And, we all thought, I remember in that all thinking the Rams were were primed to win that game. I think that was the time Todd Gurley was really cooking for the Rams, and obviously Aaron Donald was in his prime. Really, he was in his prime all the time.
It was Jared Goff as well, wasn't it? I think.
Yes. Yeah. Jared Goff. Yeah, and he kind of was it his. That would have been I think that would have been his second year or. I think he came into the league 16. I think Jared Goff got drafted by the
yes, I think so.
First overall in 2016.
Him and Wentz, I think, went 1 and 2. In 2016. That rings a bell.
So yeah, that things change now. Jared Goff's obviously in the league on the Lions and has failed to get to the Super Bowl with them when we thought they'd be so close, but. Talking of teams that we didn't think would get to the Super Bowl or thought they would get to the Super Bowl, these two teams, none of us had making the Super Bowl at the start of the season, especially the Patriots. I think, what did they finish? Was it 4 wins last season? And to go from that to get into the Super Bowl and potentially being the Super Bowl champions. Mike Vrabel's first year in New England with a second year quarterback, absolutely unbelievable transformation and job that he's done, hasn't it?
Yeah, really surprising. I think they built a nice team around May. I think May showed to be a brilliant quarterback. I know people think that their competition hasn't been the hardest, but they've gotten there regardless. And getting to a Super Bowl is hard no matter what.
I just remembered they're in the Super Bowl having lost week 1 to the Raiders. Welcome back. How crazy is that?
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
With how bad the Raiders were this season, they were awful. They were one of the worst NFL teams I think I've seen for a long, long time. And who would have thought going into week 2, New England just lost. I think it was at home as well against the Raiders.
Geno Spliff.
And if you told me in February these guys are going to be in the Super Bowl, I would have laughed you out of the building. Anyway, but moving on to Mike Macdonald as well. As I said to you earlier, both coaches in the Super Bowl called Mike. Mike Macdonald, unbelievable year as well with this team. And he's taken a quarterback who 3 or 4 years ago we were calling a bust in Sam Darnold. Obviously had a really good year in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, but we kind of discussed this, didn't we? And we thought that might be down to Kevin O'Connell's abilities as a coach more than Sam Darnold's abilities as a quarterback. And I think this year has probably proven us to be wrong in that regard. I still think Kevin O'Connell's a great coach, but Sam Darnold has proved himself to be a versatile quarterback in this system, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's played for multiple teams now, and up until the Vikings on all his team, he's been pretty crap, and the only change was the coaching staff. Obviously, Seahawks coaching is great as well, but yeah, he's shown to be a good player, and I think it's a running trend now that quarterbacks just need a lot of time, and if they have all the arm talent and all the measurables, that they will come good eventually.
I think it shows that how important we talk a lot about culture in a building as well. And Sam Darnold's been on a lot of poor teams, like the Panthers were back in the Jets, and culture really matters. Mike Macdonald at the Seahawks has really created a winning culture there now. Even last season they were a solid team, right? They were pretty good in a very tough division, as we've mentioned. And the Vikings obviously haven't had the best season this season, but they're still a pretty good team, right? They're still got talent on that team, and there's still a good culture within that team, and Kevin O'Connell's done a great job. But super impressive with what Darnold's been able to achieve. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of years with the likes of him and the likes of Baker Mayfield is maybe we're too quick to judge players coming out of the draft who we label them busts and whatever, and it we write guys off, and whether we're seeing a trend now where guys who were once discarded, who may have been on 2 or 3 teams and it's not worked, they get that 4th and 5th chance because they see, the likes of Darnold and Baker Mayfield really make it work in the right situation.
Yeah, I mean, they were on the same team at the same, I believe, at the same point. I think Donald and Baker were the 1 and 2.
At the Browns.
No, the Panthers.
Panthers. Sorry. Yeah.
I think so. I could be wrong. I know they both played for them, but yeah, really interesting. I agree. It really comes down to coaching and culture, and if you Baker and Darnold, for example, we're talking about the Browns organization and the Jets organization, which is the opposite of kind of a growth-centered culture.
Yeah. Let's talk about Aidan Durd then, our Brit Ball representative in the NFL. And he's got a lot of attention, and rightfully so, from the kind of British NFL media recently. What a job he has done, and it's amazing to see, isn't it? Not just having a British coach who's kind of a punting assistant or something, or like a water boy on an NFL team, but actually a coordinator and you look at the head coach and the 2 coordinators as the top 3 senior kind of coaches on any team, right? It's unbelievable to have a guy do so well who comes from Britball, right?
Yeah, it's amazing to see, and we'll bring it back onto him. But actually, it just sprung to mind. Nick Nurse, who was the Toronto Raptors coach when they won the NBA Finals, coached British men's basketball as well. So it's just nice to see Brits acclimatizing to US sports and getting more involved. And yeah, it's very exciting. Maybe one day Alan Hopkins will be the DC of the Miami Dolphins. You never know.
I don't think so. I'm not even DC of the Swansea Titans. So, and I was at the start of the year, I was like, when the new DC was announced, I was a bit like, well, bit miffed that I didn't get an invite, but he was so right. Jack, our DC, is doing a brilliant job and a way better job than I would have done. The guy knows ball better than me. But yeah,
clearly.
News kind of in the last couple of weeks as well of the new Arena League that is, have you seen that? The England Eruptors and the Scottish Tartans going to the Arena League. What's it called? The Globe,
There's also going to be a London team in the European League now as well, right?
So that's not this year. That's next year. So that European football's a mess at the moment. They've got kind of 3 different leagues going on. It's all a bit of a mess. But this new Arena League, there's going to be a European conference and there's going to be a US conference. And the England Eruptors and the Scottish Tartans are the 2 new teams. The England Eruptors are playing in the Multipoint Arena in Nottingham, and then the Scottish Tartans are playing in the Braehead Arena in Glasgow, and they're going to compete against US teams. They've had tryout, or whether the tryouts might be coming up for people from Britball to go and play for them, British coaches as well. So that's going to be really good. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of like arena football and flag football. I like 11v11 traditional football, but it is a good step forward, isn't it? And guys like that could lead to guys like Aidan Durd getting more gigs in the future in the NFL and in college programs.
Definitely. See, this podcast has it all. Football references, BAFA references. I mean,
we know it all, man.
We know ball, man.
So I mentioned to you before we came on air that when I was going through the kind of the structure of what we're going to talk about today, I left one bit out because I wanted to spring it on you. So I went back earlier on and listened to our preseason predictions from August, based on the fact that these two teams were not expected to make the playoffs. Can you remember where you had both of these teams in the division?
I would have had the Patriots in 3rd, I probably would have had the Seahawks in third as well.
Yep, you did. You had the Patriots in third. I horrendously missed on the Patriots. I had them bottom of the AFC.
You picked the Jets AFC East over them.
I did. I had the Jets in second. Welcome back. I had the Jets in second. I was more bullish on the Seahawks. I had them in second in the NFC West. I did say I think they were a good team. I didn't expect them to be this good, I will say. I quoted that I liked the secondary, and that has proven to be one of, it's not the only factor, but one of the big factors on this team and why they're good. And
let's not forget the 49ers and Rams were excellent as well. Like they were both really good teams. So not an outlandish take, to be honest.
And I've got written here, you had the Seahawks in third. You said the Rams in first is obvious. And you toyed with the idea of putting the Cardinals above the Seahawks. You were kind of teetering on that. And I had an equally horrendous take when I said that I think the NFC is weaker than the AFC, which has proven to not be the case at all this season. I think the NFC has been significantly stronger. And especially that, we talked a lot about that NFC North, but we didn't really talk about this NFC West. And this NFC West has been a powerhouse, hasn't it, all season, really?
Yeah, I agree and disagree simultaneously. I do think there's some rubbish divisions in the NFC as well. You've got the NFC South, and there's some equally really good divisions in the AFC, like the AFC West was quite good. And arguably the AFC South was a pretty good division this year.
I think it started off well. I think with the Colts, and then they completely dropped off.
Yeah, they capitulated.
But then the Texans probably took the place of the Colts. They kind of started a bit slowly and then kind of warmed up. You guys were kind of pretty even.
Always good. Yeah,
pretty even keeled the whole way. But last sort of freezing cold take that I picked up from that is when we did our playoff predictions, neither of us had either of these teams in our playoffs. Didn't even have them in the playoffs, never mind the Super Bowl.
It doesn't surprise me. I had them in both finishing third.
But we put a lot more emphasis probably on the NFC North, for example, and obviously we slept majorly on the Patriots. But I think, you go from 4 wins to the Super Bowl, it is a pretty miraculous turnaround, and it would have been a pretty wild take if you had said that. Even I don't think even Patriots fans would have predicted this kind of show in this year. But let's talk.
Stephon Diggs is all of a sudden good. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's back.
I thought
again.
It was going to be rubbish.
Yeah,
and he was actually pretty all right. So, yeah,
exactly. Let's move on to the game then. What are you expecting? So I've got some keys to the game that I think I've been looking at some stats today. I'm going to run through those in a second, but just give me your kind of general feelings off the top of your head about what's going to happen in this game. We'll do predictions, more detailed predictions at the end, but how do you see this game going?
I think it'll be more run-centered than probably people foresee. I mean, the Patriots are pretty good running team with Ramondre and CJ Henderson, and then on the other side you've got as you've mentioned, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. So I think it'll be a slow start and then it will open up, and it's an interesting test for both quarterbacks and two very good defenses.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think it'll be a defensive battle? I'm kind of that seems logical to me, but I also think that these two offenses have got firepower as well, and I don't think it's going to be a shootout by any means, but I don't think it'll be a really low scoring locked defensive battle either. I think it'll be somewhere in between. But I think you might be right in that it may take the offenses a while to sort of warm up the nerves of it as well. The nerves of the situation. To quarterbacks in their first Super Bowls. So I don't really know what to expect, if I'm being honest.
Can I ask? I'm not derailing it, but just genuine question. Occasionally, like Malcolm Butler, you get the obscure, and I think the Seahawks, when they won, it was some linebacker. I can't remember his name, who cribbed it, didn't he? And he won Super Bowl MVP. If it's not the obvious Super Bowl MVP of a Darnold or a May or a Jason, who's that obscure player you see that just all of a sudden it's the Super Bowl MVP?
It's a good question. I'm going to go with Nick Emenwari.
I mean, baller, to be fair. And then on the Patriots side?
Well, without giving my prediction away, I don't think the Patriots will win. So.
No, but if they do win,
do I know enough of their defensive players? Is Stevenson an outsider?
I don't
take. Do you think, or
no, not really?
Because I wouldn't say like Christian Gonzalez or somebody like that, but
Sean Booty.
Keishon Booty, yeah. Chason's had a few sacks.
That's who I was going to say.
Yeah. How do you say his first name, by the way? Is it Clavon or Calavon?
I don't know. It was so rubbish, I didn't actually bother to learn it.
I think it's Clavon, right? Because it's K''Lavon. I think it's Clavon Chason.
It is interesting seeing him all of a sudden be good. He was complete pony for us, and he's actually very, very good this year. Yeah, Clavion or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. For me, the two Super Bowl MVPs, I don't think it's kind of obscure, but I could definitely see Cooper Kupp just all of a sudden having a blow-up game. It's not JSN who has the blow-up game, it's Cooper Kupp, because Gonzalez follows JSN everywhere or something along those lines. And then, Chason, I think he could have like a strip sack fumble sort of thing and crib it or something ridiculous. So
no, I'm going to go. I'm going to stick Nick Emenwari. I think he's had an excellent season. And he's a rookie as well, right? Welcome back.
Yes,
is he a rookie? Yeah, which would be a pretty crazy thing for a rookie to have. I
think he's up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he.
Yeah. So, So I'll go for that. And I'll go Stevenson on the Patriots side. He's been pretty good so far in the postseason as well. But welcome back. So we may as well get into predictions then. I think I think everyone's kind of expecting the Seahawks to win this game. I think based on their dominant performance against the 49ers, and they took the 49ers apart, didn't they, in the divisional round, and then very professional performance against a very good Rams team at home. And do you think that the fact that the game is in Santa Clara, not that far away from Seattle, they'll be backed by more fans than the Patriots possibly, or does the Patriots just have that many fans because of the Brady dynasty and whatever? How do you think that will play out?
I mean, the Seahawks fan base is called the 12th man.
Yeah,
they are
exactly.
a very loud set of fans as well. So even if they lose the numbers battle, it will. I don't think it will make much of a difference, to be honest. I think you're right. There probably will be more Seahawks fans than Patriots fans.
Yeah, we tend to think of it in terms of I guess British football fans, don't we? And who travel. But in America, it's completely different because the country's so much bigger, and you've got more fans who are likely to be just general football fans who are going to be able to afford to go to the Super Bowl anyway is a thing in itself. And you probably have a lot of people who are just Patriots fans from the Brady dynasty who are just going anyway, right?
It's like say United were playing at Wembley it's a bit of a no-brainer that stadium would be packed out because all United fans are from London. No, I think you're right. It will probably be a Seahawks fan-heavy stadium in their rivals' backyard as well. Could be tasty.
Yeah, I wonder if if they win, one of them will do like a Graham Souness type plant the flag in midfield. You know, when Graham Souness was manager of Galatasaray and they played Fenerbahce and they beat Fenerbahce in Fenerbahce Stadium, and he famously planted a Galatasaray flag in the middle of the pitch, and pretty much a riot ensued in that stadium. Then I wonder if one of the Seahawks guys will do that. So let's go through some of the keys to the game then. And as I said, I'm going through some stats earlier, starting with the Seahawks. And let's see if you agree with these, or if you have any you think in your own mind, feel free to chip in. I've got established the run with Walker and Charbonnet. I think we've seen this offense be a lot more efficient when that run game is working. It wasn't really at the start of the season too much, and they were relying heavily on the pass game. But since they've opened that run game up, it has opened up the likes of Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp to get more open, hasn't it? And it always does. That's football 101, right? If you can run the ball well, it's going to open up your pass game.
Yeah, fully agree. I think both teams are going to try do that. It's a bit of a no-brainer. Yeah, agreed.
And then secondly, I've got they need to play aggressive and turn the ball over. I mean, this defense, just looking at the stats, this defense, leads the postseason in turnovers. They've got 4 in the postseason, and in the regular season they were ball hawks, weren't they? They were looking for the balls. They were ultra aggressive. That defensive front has been excellent with the linebackers, and then that secondary, as we mentioned, really has come to the fore, hasn't it? And we've talked about the kind of Legion of Boom type, new wave Legion of Boom, or there is a term they are coining for this new group, for this new defensive backs group. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head now, but yeah, I think they need to play aggressive and put Drake May under pressure, don't they, from the off?
Yeah, and off the back of that, I think they need to attack Will Campbell as much as they can. I think he's a nice kid, good kid, everything like that, and he's. I think he will be good, but statistically, he actually hasn't been that great. And I think they should put the pressure on that kid in the light. On the biggest stage and get after Drake May that way. Send blitzes his way, like whatever you can, and force turnovers that way.
Yeah, he's going to be a good player, isn't he? But at the end of the day, he is a rookie, and he's been thrust into a starting spot, which he probably deserves. But as you said, on the biggest stage of all, that's always going to be tough for a rookie. And I agree. I think that will be something that Aiden Durd is targeting with his defensive unit. And then the third one I've got is get a lead and let Darnold manage the game. So exactly what they kind of did against the Rams. They led for most of that game, usually by sort of 7 points or so. Had a touchdown lead. Darnold's not a quarterback who's going to light the world on fire, and he's not going to probably stage many comebacks. So I think they need to get ahead and let him just manage the game and play sensible football, right? And not turn the ball over like he did against the Rams.
Welcome back. It's really interesting because both these quarterbacks have a lot of talent, and I'm definitely not saying they can't. They're not game changers and they can't go and win you a game, but equally they're both kind of game managers. I know Drake May's been very, very good, but yes, that is going to be who can establish the run, what defense performs better, and who's not going to turn over the ball. That's what it will boil down to. I don't think you're going to see a shootout by any means.
For the Patriots, then, the first one I've got is they need to contain Jackson Smith and Jigba and limit the yardage overall in the passing game, which, to be fair, they have been doing this season. They are the leaders in yards allowed per game, 209.7 yards allowed per game total. That is passing and rushing. Obviously, did have that game in the snow, which, you know, when you're reading into stats, you have to take those kind of things into account, that they're obviously not, you know, tough conditions to pass the ball in, not many yards being churned up there. So you have to take that into account. And then, you know, the first game against the Chargers just couldn't get anything going at all. They were awful. So
and they played CJ
Houston.
Stroud. CJ Stroud is probably the worst quarterback in the NFL, like I've been saying. So yeah,
we'll talk about that in the postseason. We'll talk about that in the wrap-up. Let's stay on track here. But yeah, they have conceded the least amount of yards per game, and I think it's another level of challenge this week for their defense, and particularly their secondary. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be the key man to kind of lock up. And you mentioned, you know, whether they stick Christian Gonzalez on him, whether he travels with that, we'll have to wait and see. But next one is getting after Darnold. They lead the postseason in sacks. They have 12 sacks in 3 games, the New England Patriots, which was really surprising to me, probably after CJ Stroud's horror show in that divisional round and then in the snow as well. But if they can get after Sam Darnold at that rate, then that could, as we said with the Seahawks, right, that could bear fruit for them big time.
Welcome back. Like you were saying, though, context is everything. They played against the Chargers with no Joe, no Rashawn Slater. Yeah. They played against CJ Stroud, and then Jared Stidham. So, I'm not denying that this pass rush isn't good, but I think it will be a completely different test. And I was going to ask you, obviously having an easier schedule gets you there, and that's great. But arguably, do you want to play against better teams and not have that shell shock in the Super Bowl where you actually face a good team? It's like playing Morecambe and then Wickham, and then in the cup final you're against Man City. Like, wouldn't you rather beat Aston Villa or Newcastle and kind of?
It's an interesting one, I think, because when you look at it from, for example, take the 49ers, and we talked about their ability to come to deal with the adversity that they were having with the injuries, despite a really tough schedule and a tough division, and they were able to just come back with a performance and keep winning games. But then that really caught up with them in the end in that divisional game. They, you know, those injuries really told, and the Seahawks took them apart. You know, that, I mean, anytime Rashid Shaheed takes the opening kickoff to the house and you're at home in a divisional playoff game, you know, it's a tough hill to climb back from there. But I think in that instance, you know, what you're saying, they've faced those tough challenges all year, and in the end it just wore them down. But on the other hand, I do get what you mean, and I think the Patriots definitely this postseason anyway won't have faced a challenge like the Seahawks. You know, we looked at it with the Broncos, but that game was hampered by Bo Nix not playing and the weather. It was a completely different game than what it would have been if Bo Nix had been playing and it wasn't snowing, right? It'd be a completely different game. So it's always an interesting one. I'd probably prefer to play a mix, if that makes sense, of kind of, you know, you get some games where you're not too challenged and you're not getting beat up every rep. But then you also do want that tough challenge where you have to show a bit of resilience and a bit of fight, and you have to come through that. So, it's a good question, actually. It'll be interesting to see whether the Patriots can raise their level of performance from what they've had to do so far in the playoffs.
And you managed to get your Rashid Shaheed shout out in. For context, Alan drafts him every single year in fantasy.
I didn't have him this year.
Not this year.
I didn't have him this year at all. No.
Well, why not? You've always been on the Shaheed train.
Yeah, well, he's always a deep threat. That's why he's always good for. He's always good for us, like, you know, 3-4 really long touchdowns, a year. So and he always goes really late in drafts. So he's he's always kind of a nice one to have on the bench. I always liked having Taysom Hill as well. I didn't have him this year, but Taysom Hill is always a nice one because he plays multiple positions, and you can put him in kind of your flex, and he'll do a bit of passing, he'll do a bit of a tight end and whatever.
Are we going to see a punt or kick return touchdown? Because we've got Marcus Jones on one side and Rashid Shaheed on the other. That could be.
Yeah. And I think
the last one I remember was Devin Hester cribbing it against the Colts. I can't remember if there's been a return touchdown since then in a Super Bowl. Probably has.
When was that? Was that like 06, 05, 06?
Ago, yeah, like 20 years ago.
That would have been
07 or 06.
Yeah, you're right. I remember being in America for the championship games because the Bears played the Saints and the Colts played the Patriots.
Was it not? It's either 06 or 07.
I think it's 07. I think it was the 06 season, but the Super Bowl in 07. I definitely was because I was in America in 07, in February 07. Welcome back. And then the last one I've got here is protect break protect break May. Break May. The Seahawks try to break May, but protect Drake May and let him cook. Right. We talked about the problem last year for this team was Drake May was running for his life, and they have upgraded the offensive line. They got the likes of Will Campbell, and they have protected him a lot better this season. And he's been able then to make things happen, hasn't he? And he is a guy who is primarily a pocket passer, but he does have the ability to get out and make plays and extend plays.
He runs a lot, actually.
Yeah, but I think he wants to stay in the pocket, mate. Yeah. He wants to make throws downfield, doesn't he? To the likes of Diggs and that. So, and Bootie's been a really nice addition this season as well. So I think protecting him against this aggressive Seahawks defense and front is going to be crucial, isn't it, for the Patriots?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier, the Seahawks have to attack Will Campbell, and I think they definitely will. So, basically what you're saying, protect Drake May really boils down to will Campbell show up or not on the biggest stage.
It's not just all on him.
Morgan Moses is actually pretty solid. He's not brilliant, but he's better than Will Campbell. So I think they'll attack Will Campbell.
Okay, let's round it off then with our prediction. We've kind of both hinted that we think the Seahawks will win. Is that right? You think the Seahawks will win? Welcome back to.
Yes.
That took way longer than surely.
I was just thinking, could I? Everything points towards the Seahawks win, but you never know. You do never know.
What score are you going for then?
24-21 to the Seahawks.
I was going to say 24 as well. I'll just be a bit different. I'll go 23. 23-14 to the Seahawks. I think that kind of mid-level range, not a shootout, not a defensive battle. Who's winning the MVP? Not our wild take for it.
No wild take. I think it's going to be. Welcome back to. See, this is the thing. Like, if JSN has a blow-up game, right? Do they give it to JSN? Or obviously, if JSN has a blow-up game, Darnold is subsequently going to probably have a pretty good game. So, I'll say Darnold. Like, I know that's a bit of a cop-out. I'd like to see JSN win it. But
I'll say JSN then for but you are right. If a receiver has a good game, the QB's getting the MVP award because he's got him the ball. And he's got him the touchdowns. But any other kind of wild predictions? Any other kind of, and I'm not talking about the color of the Gatorade or the coin toss or just anything you think might happen a little bit left field or anything.
Who's the halftime show?
Ooh, I don't actually know.
Isn't it Bad Bunny or something like that?
Oh God.
Hey,
They
man.
get worse, don't they? They're just
He's
rubbish.
not that bad. He's
I
not
don't
that
even watch
bad.
it. Yeah, it is Bad Bunny. Charlie Puth is singing the national anthem. I can't stand him. I hate his voice. Oh no, and Shawn Mendes. Shawn Mendes. I hate. They're quite similar. They got quite similar sounding voices, but I can't stand. I can't stand them both. Who even is Bad Bunny? Isn't he like a reggaeton artist?
Yeah, it's Hispanic pop star.
It's the worst music in the world. Sorry to any reggaeton fans, but I remember being in a club / bar in Spain last year, and it was in this place where it's not really like where British tourists go. It's more like where Spanish people go on holiday. It wasn't like flooded with Brits. And there was I think it was like quite a lot of Spanish stag doos and stuff there, like loads of Spanish lads. And all this bar played was reggaeton, and it's just the same beat every single time, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
I had a similar experience when I went to Gran Canaria with my mate. I had a great time, but every single club it was like the same sort of music, and it's just not really my vibe. No. I don't think it's necessarily awful, but not really my vibe. And oh my God, the drinks were ridiculous. It's like like 3/4 of the vodka lemonade is a vodka. It was disgusting, but cheap.
Shows how old we are. We're complaining about getting more alcohol in our drinks. That, you would have talked to us 4 or 5 years ago. That would not be a complaint that we ever had.
A bargain, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But
now it's foul.
We'll be back with our Super Bowl roundup, and then later on as well. I am quite keen to go through some of our predictions at the start of the season, and there was when I was watching it back earlier. Actually, there was an interesting question that you put to me in that episode of when we finished our ranking where we thought each team would finish in their division. You asked me as a percentage, how many of my predictions did you think we'd get right? So I'd love to calculate that, and we'll look back. I said anything over 40% I'd be happy with. You said over 70% that you'd be happy with. So we'll calculate both of our scores. 70%. We'll calculate both of our scores. And we'll have a review of some of the freezing cold takes that we've made over the season.
Before you go, just real quick, just let the people know, do you still believe in CJ Stroud?
Welcome back. As I said to you earlier, my eyes don't lie. What we saw in that first year can't be all he has to give. That's all I'll say.
Okay. See you later.
Anyway, we'll leave it there. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I don't know where I'm going to be for it at the minute. I don't know whether I go to the team Super Bowl social. We do have a game on the day, and if we win, we get promoted. So it might be a celebratory atmosphere, or it might be a drown in our sorrows atmosphere if we lose. If you are in the Swansea area on Sunday and you fancy coming to watch the Swansea Titans against the UE Bullets 2s, it's going to be a cracking game. Yeah, so enjoy the Super Bowl wherever you are watching it, wherever you're celebrating. Make sure you get together with friends, have a few drinks, have some American style food, have a bit of a party for it. Book the day off work, or if you haven't done that already, call in sick. Because I don't know what time it's going to be, but we always know it's going to be late. We'll be back next week, hopefully, to talk about the Super Bowl. Hopefully, it's a good game. We've got plenty to talk about, and then in the off season, we will go into some of our predictions. We'll review some of our predictions and some more fun stuff as well. So stick around on the channel. Eden, thanks very much. I will speak to you next week.
Speak to you soon, mate.